Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Another episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier drama. That's episode 2. Buckle your seatbelt, there's gonna be some spoilers, so you need to prepare yourself for the ride. We got our team up. As I predicted, Bucky was very upset seeing that John Walker is the new Captain America, and we're gonna use quotations because that boy is no Steve Rogers. I mean, have you seen them next to each other? One looks like a nice juicy Dorito chip and the other looks like a Slim Jim. What I think is so funny is Bucky just shows up. Bucky's just like, Sam, why'd you give up the shield? And Sam was like, where have you been? You've been ignoring my texts, you've been ignoring my calls, now you just show up here. And we get that iconic big three cyborgs, aliens, or wizards conversation from the TV spot trailer. And what I will say is I really love that we're getting some of the good stuff that we've seen in the trailers very early on in the first 2 episodes. I think there was an issue with WandaVision where their Halloween costumes and that episode was very, what some might say, overhyped, and people were really waiting to see if that episode had a lot of substance because it was heavily used in the promos for the show. And this show is learning its lesson from that and saying, we're gonna clear our hands of disappointing anyone further down the line. But in fairness, the Halloween episode was episode 5 of WandaVision, and with the amount of content we've already gotten from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we would essentially be there at that point. I guess it makes sense that we're getting a lot of the trailer content. So don't be disappointed. I think that should be a positive, that there's so much left to see that is probably so good, so juicy, because think about it, this was supposed to be the very first thing released initially pre-pandemic from MCU post Far From Home. So it's gotta be juicy. Like, it's gotta be good. Then the boys go to Munich, Germany to see if they can get any info on the Flag Smashers. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is too long. Sam and Bucky's too long, so we're just gonna call them the boys, okay? And basically they find out that the Flag Smashers are shipping vaccines, which they later find out to be super soldier serum or some adaptation of that, some imitation of it. The stalking of the Flag Smashers is maybe some of the best content in the show. The comedy between Sam and Bucky, I'm talking about Sam's like, oh, you're the White Panther, and Bucky's like, I'm actually the White Wolf, which is what T'Challa calls him in the post-credit scene where he gets his new arm that's made of vibranium. So I just love that little callback. And then Bucky's hatred of Red Wing, who, rest in peace, little guy, you will be missed. Their dynamic is so fun. John Walker shows up, sort of saves them, but doesn't defeat the Flag Smashers, and he gets his butt kicked. This is where I have my unpopular opinion of the episode. Because of the fact that it opened on John Walker revisiting his old high school, we learned that his wife, who he clearly loves so much, and him were high school sweethearts. I was really struggling, guys. I know I don't want him to be the new Captain America, but is he a nice guy? Yeah, until he shows up and he's like, oh, this super soldier serum, that's not always good. And he's like side-eyeing Bucky because Hydra put that in Bucky. And Sam is just like, sir? John Walker is just kind of consistently condescending in this episode. He's constantly flexing his governmental power and his influence over all these government organizations, and that's really not what Steve stood for. I mean, Steve was on the anti-Sokovian Accords side of the Civil War argument, if we remember, and I will stand with Sam and Bucky gang, and I will say I am not about this John Walker guy. I don't like the way the government went about it, but I have to say the one thing that in my brain is telling me like it's okay to hate him is that I have a hot take. And this is technically Christian's hot take. So Christian, if you watch this, I know you don't watch my videos, like I'm giving you credit. I think that John Walker got his super soldier strength because he's clearly got it, right? He's not just some strong Joe. I think he got it from these Flag Smasher people. I think he is somehow in deeper with the government or Hydra or something, and I don't like John Walker. I like the complexity of giving us a reason to potentially care about him, but I refuse to. I refuse to like him. Sam and Bucky refuse his help. They go home. They meet up with Isaiah, who is another person who has had the super soldier serum. This has been circulating in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a long time. And there's probably a lot of individuals who have received some dose of this serum. And what is really sad is to think about the complications of Bucky being pardoned by the president and then someone like Isaiah being put in jail for trying to operate the same way and having the same abilities as Bucky. So that was a really emotional scene, and I also think it was really poignant the way they discussed race and the complications of the fact that Sam shouldn't have to explain that he's the Falcon to get out of an altercation. I hope Isaiah comes back. I genuinely do think he will somehow show up in the series, and I hope, if nothing more, Isaiah will be recognized for what he contributed to his country. Some righting of wrongs would be very nice there is what I'm trying to say. They arrest Bucky for missing a court-ordered therapy session. John Walker busts Bucky out, but then they have to go into an immediate therapy session because that's what he missed. And this is where we get the Sam and Bucky therapy session, and it is hysterical and heartbreaking at the same time. Like I said in the bank scene in my first episode recap, it shows the tonal gambit that the MCU runs, from funny of them saying like, I don't want to get any closer, are you having a staring contest, are you serious, to Bucky coming out and saying, if Steve was wrong that you should be the next Captain America, then he was wrong about me, and Bucky expressing then that his life isn't worth living, basically, because what Steve believed was he was tortured, manipulated, hijacked, he was basically forced to be a killing machine, and that if he's not deserving of grace and forgiveness and redemption, then why does Bucky have a reason to live? And that's deep. The episode ends with Sam and Bucky deciding that they're not gonna work with John Walker and they need to get some intel on where this vaccine serum thing is coming from, and they decide their one option for that is Baron Zemo, their enemy from Civil War, the man who literally kidnapped and abused Bucky to turn him into the Winter Soldier for his own purposes in Civil War, that they're gonna go talk to him. And from the trailers, he's not in his cell the whole time. So either the man gets released or broken out of prison by Sam and Bucky, which is just wild. Now, where this episode leaves us is eagerly awaiting next week's episode with Baron Zemo, and I hope the return of Sharon Carter. I feel like she's gotta come in next episode, at least by the end of the episode, even if she's like the next cliffhanger. She's gotta come in soon. But like I said before, I love that we're seeing some of the really great action sequence, like set pieces, so early on in this series. I personally think it was better than the first episode because of obviously Sam and Bucky are together, and then the combination of the humor and the action. I feel like in this show, because each episode is 50-ish minutes, we're going to get great action in each episode, great humor in each episode, and then a little bit of just tug on the heartstrings type stuff. Sam and Bucky, the boys, their dynamic is so great. They're just a great bromance. I love their pairing. I'm also really curious to see when they're gonna get the shield from John Walker, because obviously the one thing we haven't seen yet that's from the trailers, that predominantly takes to the trailers, is Sam and Bucky training with the shield. And so I have a prediction. So I had a hot take at the beginning of this video, and now I have a prediction. My prediction is that by the end of episode 4, Sam and Bucky get the shield. Episode 5 has a training sequence. Episode 6, Sam suits up and he's got the shield. That's my prediction. That's gonna be it for this episode recap and review. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this episode, you should like this video to let me know I should keep doing them, okay? If not, again, it's a free country. I'm gonna stand for what Steve stood for. Freedom. You can do as you wish, but I would really like it if you liked this video. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate all of y'all's support, and for my non-Marvel fans, if you have been watching these, thank you. I promise I will have more content soon that isn't strictly Marvel stuff. It's just kind of, it's what the people, and the people being me, want right now. So, thank you so much for watching. Have an absolutely amazing day, and I will see you in my very next video. Peace out.